Do you feel overwhelmed? Have you ever looked at your life and said, why am I feeling overwhelmed? On paper, your life looks really good. You're getting things done. You're productive. Um, you're showing up for things and you're just doing a really great job personally, professionally, but you're still feeling like this low hum of anxiety and feelings of overwhelm. Um, do you possibly lay in bed at night and replay conversations over and over? Or do you worry about getting things right? Do you have that perfectionist part inside of you that wants to get a project done right? You look good on the outside, fine, but you're just exhausted on the inside. Are you criticizing yourself for feeling exhausted? You're not alone if you're feeling this way. Um, Perfectionism, inner critic, replaying conversations, racing thoughts, um, having a hard time relaxing. What you might be experiencing is high functioning anxiety. Hi, my name is Lene, and I'm so glad you're here. Um, I am a mental health specialist, and I am a first responder crisis counselor. I do clinical counseling, and I also am a survivor of anxiety and PTSD and trauma and depression. And if you don't know my story, you can read my story in my bio on my website. I have the link below, or it's in the thumbnail, I believe. You can go there. But I know what it's like to struggle. I also know that recovery is possible. And I am here to tell you that I came out on the other side of anxiety. And if you're feeling just down on yourself and confused about why life seems so hard right now, I want you to first just take a deep breath and let it out, because you're not alone. And sometimes just hearing that you're not alone, that your emotions and your feelings are real, that validation, that alone can bring a lot of healing. Um, I have notes here because I didn't want to forget some things. Okay, thanks for being so patient here. So, okay, high functioning anxiety means you're pushing through. You feel flooded with anxiety at times. Maybe sometimes it's a low hum. You look great and successful, or just getting all the things done daily in your life as a mom, as um, maybe you're a businessman or an entrepreneur, but you're still feeling just like something's wrong. And what that can mean is that your nervous system is stuck on high alert without you even realizing. So high functioning anxiety means that part in our brain, the fear center, which is called the amygdala, that is staying active and it's not shutting off. And it means your nervous system somewhere along the line decided that it needed to stay alert at all times, even if danger wasn't a problem. And so it never shuts off. And that means you're always scanning the room, you're reading people's um, tone of voice, you're looking ahead, trying to see what needs to be done next. Sometimes it can be about safety, maybe it's about overachieving, and you want to make sure there's no mistakes. And that perfectionism part of you comes out. And I am here to tell you that a lot of times we can become unaware of this going on in the background. There's such a big connection between our mind and our body, and our nervous system and body. It learns patterns and programs that it runs on, and it can be something learned that you picked up from a family member. Maybe you had an anxious parent, or it can be something due to your environment. Growing up in a chaotic environment can also make you feel unsafe. Maybe you grew up in a really healthy environment, but you still feel this way. And somewhere along the lines, you felt like you had to perform to feel worthy or self-worth. That productivity was tied to your identity and self-worth. And what I want to tell you is I know what that's like. I personally have gone through my own therapy, trauma therapy for years. And after I went through that, I went back to school and finished college and took some specialty classes so I could help others who struggle with complex PTSD or anxiety or depression or just overwhelm and stress. And so I used to have social anxiety so bad. Couldn't look you in the eye. It was difficult. My self-worth was low. I felt like my self-worth was tied up in what I could do musically. I grew up in a very musical home, and I perform and do things like that. But my anxiety was always on high alert. I also grew up in a chaotic home. My dad was a Vietnam vet, and so my story has a lot of anxiety-inducing things. The first time I started doing this, I'm going to tell you what helped me, and it can help you as well with high-functioning anxiety. Because when we're in survival mode, we don't want other people to know that we're struggling on the inside. Maybe you're a firstborn like me. Maybe you're an Enneagram 3 who is into overachievement and productivity. But when I was in trauma therapy, something I learned, and I still do it today personally and professionally, is I first take a deep breath with my anxiety. And if you're one of those people that, people who say, just breathe, I get it. I get it. But the thing is when you do this, when you're not in anxiety or in crisis, it will then become your default, and it will really help you, because the fastest way to regulate anxiety and panic attacks is if you can take a deep breath through your nose and then make your exhale longer through your mouth, like you're blowing bubbles through a straw in a glass of milk or water. You can do that 3 times. That will help your body feel grounded and safe. But the biggest part, and this is the real powerful thing that helped change my high functioning anxiety, my all consuming anxiety for all types, was name it to tame it. And I'm sure a lot of you have heard that phrase before. It's a catchy little psychology phrase. What that means is when you can name your emotions, what you're feeling in the moment, that is going to help deactivate that fear response amygdala in your brain, and it will activate the prefrontal cortex of your brain. And that part of your brain helps you feel grounded. It helps you to have more of a clear mind. It helps you to feel safe. And so that's what we want when we're feeling anxious. We want to learn how to turn off that fear center, especially when there's no danger in sight. So when we can name our emotions and not just name, and this is important, not just saying, I am anxious, I am depressed, I am overwhelmed. I want you to not make that your identity, but reframe the phrase and say, I am feeling strong emotions of anxiety. I am feeling these emotions of overwhelm. I am feeling emotions of dread. Make sure you put that word feeling or emotions in front of it, because you are not your struggle. You are not anxiety itself. So retraining your brain to name it by saying, I am feeling these emotions, these intense emotions of whatever it might be. And then taking a deep breath and then taking it from there. What it does is when you can do that, it keeps you in the present moment. It helps you become aware of your thoughts, aware of your body, helps you connect to your body, and it helps your body, tells your brain, which tells your body that it's safe. And along with that, I like to have written affirmations to refer to. So I can say that when I'm feeling overwhelmed. So I will say, okay, I will get through this. I am taking the next 5 minutes just to get through those next 5 minutes. I am not going to look at what's going to happen tomorrow. Or I am focusing on what I can control. A lot of times our worry and anxiety comes from outside sources, things that are happening that we can't control. So it begins with taking a deep breath and then name your emotions. And you can either write them out or say them verbally. I think it's powerful if you can say them verbally and write them out. It gives you distance from the emotions so they don't flood your nervous system. So you're not feeling so overwhelmed. And for me personally, my anxiety didn't go away overnight, even with naming to tame it. It takes small steps every single day and practicing this when I'm not in crisis, when I'm not flooded, or even if you are in that mode all the time, commit to doing this every single day if you can, but don't put pressure on yourself. Talk to that compassionate part of you, that anxiety part of you with compassion. That's what I meant. Because we have different parts that surface and get triggered and activated. Our perfectionist part, our inner critic part, our anxiety part, our depression part. And you know what? You have no bad parts. Our emotions, our parts are trying to keep us safe. That's all they're doing. And when anxiety comes up, it's coming up because it thinks that you're in danger, and our parts are trying to protect us. The protective parts, they're parts that have maybe been put into extreme roles. Maybe you have, this fearful part that's enmeshed with your anxiety part. And when you can talk kind words to yourself compassionately and get curious about those parts, like, how long have I been feeling this way? How long has this part been in my life? Did it start when I was a kid? Did it start when I started this job? When I got divorced? When I got married? And do some investigation. But I want you to know that you are not alone. Take small steps every day in naming your emotions. And just celebrate those small victories. If you were able to keep yourself in the present moment and not worry about a project next day, actually that's a big step, but write those down in your phone or on paper so you can look back at those victories because all those small steps add up. And if you can name your emotions, you're going to tame them and you're going to be able to befriend those parts of you and not hate those parts of you. Emotions are signals to us. And if any of this resonated with you, feel free to put in the comments below that I feel this. Because sometimes the feeling of not being alone in your emotions, that other people are going through it too, that right there brings a lot of healing. And I'm really glad you're here. So try taking a deep breath today and then name it to tame it. And that will help with your overwhelm and anxiety every day. Be kind to yourself. Talk words of life to yourself